Good day, everyone. Meteorologist Mark Molnar here. Welcome to MeteoMark's weather here. We're starting off with the tropics here, and yes, I'm proud to announce we have much better agreement between the GFS and the European model as we have come through this week. You can see the GFS coming out a better solution that's closer to the Euro. This looks more like a land hugger here on our Caribbean system as we go towards the 18th and the 19th. What's actually going to happen with this system? Does it actually have a chance of development? And we're going to look at a few more tropical waves behind this system as well. And if the tropics weren't enough, we're going to be looking at a severe weather outbreak caused by a massive jet stream coming out of the southwest here that's going to be pushing from Texas eastward across the Gulf Coast states, producing a massive severe weather outbreak for Wednesday into Thursday. And I'll have an update on the smoke. Is that going to be heading towards Quebec southward again towards the end of the weekend into next week? Take a look at the smoke plume here as the northeast in danger again. And in the eastern Pacific, we could actually be looking at our first couple of named storms. Yes, it is very likely over the next couple days we might see one of these form into a named storm. Let's get right into it. All right, so we'll start off with your Atlantic here. I'm going to show you both the models, GFS first here, then the European model. So, as we get towards the 17th and 18th, this is where this disorganized area starts to look a little bit more organized. Of course, there's energy here in the eastern Pacific too. That's going to feed into potential for named storms. I'll show you the eastern Pacific later on in my forecast segment here. But take a look at this. As we head towards the 17th, look at this, the 18th, it becomes quite a coastal hugger initially here into Central America. So, yeah, we're going to see some beneficial rains moving towards the northwest here. Obviously, with more land interaction, the chances of development are going to be less. Now, bear with me here because, last week the GFS was going crazy and blowing this up into a massive hurricane. So, the GFS has a tendency to do this. This is a bit more of a realistic solution. You can see this long drawn out area of tropical moisture. Now, whether this becomes a named system by this point, this is the 20th. We're starting to get out beyond a massive margin of error. So things could change, but indicating here the GFS, an explosion of thunderstorms around the Cayman Islands and southward by the 21st. So we're going to definitely see a lot of heavy rain around the Cayman Islands and Jamaica and Cuba. And that funnels up towards the Bahamas. You see, still not becoming anything major by this point. You do start to see evidence that there's a tropical connection here with our East Coast system. So this could actually feed into some tropical moisture up the East Coast with the East Coast system going on around the 22nd of June here. So it's going to be interesting to see how this interacts. Looking a better, more organized here. A bit more organized by 5 p.m. on the 22nd. So, a lot can change. I'm going to show you the European model. There is a low-level center here displaced to the southwest by this point. So, yeah, this is the time of year you'd see systems look more like this rather than, blasting hurricanes. So let's take a look at the European run. All right, so looking at the European model, let's see. There is that unsettled area beginning to show signs here in the southern Caribbean. So as we continue to go in time, that moves into the eastern Pacific. We get another resurgence here into the southern Caribbean. And what starts to happen here? We're going to pivot towards there's June 18th. You start to see signs that, this is a very persistent area for development. We have another area out here east of the Sahara dust out here. Now, that kind of pivots, moves, and fizzles out here. But look at this. This moves into Central America, brings some beneficial rains here. Let's take a look as we go in time. This is towards the 20th. Now, notice this. Along the East Coast, we have this area of low pressure forming inland. That's not going to be tropical, but this starts to look a bit more tropical. And look at this big tropical wave here off your screen, just off your screen. That starts to move into the area where we saw the Sahara dust that's clearing. And then we have another tropical potential disturbance here. That starts to become and consolidate just south of the Cayman Islands, southwest of Jamaica here. So this is something we're going to keep an eye on. I'm going to show you in the moisture loop here. This could start to draw moisture up into this East Coast system as well. So we got a couple areas to be a little bit concerned about as we continue in time. Of course, these are not blowing it up like the GFS. The GFS has a tendency to go insane, especially pretty far out. But look at this. This area, the European model is definitely showing a lot of promise for some potential of some sort of development. And look at this big tropical wave out here pinwheeling around this big old, this looks like a Bermuda high that's more indicative of mid to late summer here. So this is pretty interesting. You know, we'll keep an eye on these areas. Looks like it's going to bring, by this point, if this holds true, June 23rd, some beneficial rains around Belize and the Yucatan Peninsula, especially the eastern portions. And look at this. Even if this doesn't develop, look at the heavy rain that it's going to bring to Puerto Rico, Hispaniola, and the Lesser Antilles, U.S. Virgin Islands as well. So, yeah, it's going to be quite a stormy time of it here, even up through the Bahamas. And there's that moisture stream up the East Coast. And here we go on the European model. I wanted to show you the amount of moisture in the mid layers here. So take a look at this. This is taking us through the 17th. Look at all this moisture here into the Southern Caribbean. This is really interesting. By the way, this is thanks to Tropical Tidbits. Take a look at this. Yeah, this continues to go towards the westward here. And yes, there is a lot of dry air to the north here. So that is the saving grace most likely for the Gulf of Mexico. So many of you in the Gulf were wondering, is this going to head north? According to the Euro, which we can put a lot into here, that doesn't look like that's happening at this point. And then look at here. We have a lot of dust, continuing behind it. But let's take a look and see what happens here as we continue to go in time. There is that area lifting to the north. And then look what starts to come in behind it. Here's this area of dust, and dry air. And look at this big old wave coming behind it towards the Lesser Antilles. This is exactly what I was talking about. This is really interesting. And we're going to have to keep an eye on these two areas. These are two areas as we go towards, say, June 22nd, 21st time frame. We definitely need to keep an eye on. And look at this tropical moisture, whether this does develop or not. This low pressure that gets cranking here in the southern Appalachians and the Carolinas could be bringing up a tremendous amount of tropical moisture from whatever is happening to this tropical wave. And let's go a couple more frames here on our European run. You can see, yeah, it doesn't really develop these systems into bomb cyclones, so to speak, or any sort of massive subtropical or tropical type things. But look at this. This looks pretty formidable here south of Puerto Rico by this point. And, you got some sort of drawn-out tropical wave, tropical disturbance. We'll continue to watch it here. It's going to bring some beneficial rains definitely here to Belize, parts of the Yucatan Peninsula here down towards parts of Central America. All right, so as we look at your synoptic pattern here, we're going to look at it on the Euro momentarily. You can see the explosion of thunderstorms to the south, as I showed you on the mesoscale models. This is just going to continue, as I said, through the rest of the week. There's the 16th. And to the 17th, you can see as we head towards the weekend, low pressure kind of camped out across the northeast here. That's going to continue. Look at this big severe weather outbreak in the middle of the weekend here across the plains and parts of the Mississippi River Valley. This is not looking very good at all. And as we continue in time, you start to see the pattern here turn into more of an El Nino pattern. You see these systems diving across the southeast. We'll get hung up here in the Carolinas, and we'll start to see some East Coast development here. So look at this. We'll start to see low pressure here along the southeast coast. It's going to remain unsettled here from the Carolinas southward to Florida. But as I showed you in the tropical update, we're going to start to see tropical moisture funnel into this East Coast system. And that is going to be rather interesting as we go in time. What kind of interactions there's going to happen with this system? Take a look at this. Yeah. Could it come up the U.S. East Coast such as this? Well, what kind of system is it going to be? Well, that's going to be, another type of, we're getting way out here on the forecast scale, so a lot can happen. It could resemble more of a nor'easter, it could be subtropical, or it could be fully tropical. So at this point, it remains to be seen. All right, so as we head through the rest, this is HRRR Future Radar. Look at Ohio Tuesday night into early Wednesday morning. Look at this heavy rain. It's going to result in 3/4 to 1 inch around Cleveland, Akron, Columbus. You could even see heavier around Columbus, up to 1.5 inches. But this continues to move towards the east. It will be ending for you around Cleveland, Akron, and Columbus, by sunrise here. Look at that. Pulling off to the east, but look what's going on here across the I-81 corridor of New York, Pennsylvania here. Even some thunderstorms here down just southwest of Harrisburg, and some heavier rains up here into the Susquehanna Valley and into the Finger Lakes. Look what gets cranking here across the Northeast as well. As we go in time, this is towards, let's just take the afternoon hours. There's your, just after lunch, 3 p.m., 4 p.m. Yeah, so we're going to get some heavier downpours here. And look at this. Yeah, there's going to be some potential thunderstorms here around Boston. Some of these could be strong up towards Vermont and New Hampshire as well. And look at that. We get a little pivot of precipitation behind it as well as we head into Wednesday night. That low pressure system moves to the northeast here. So here we go. As we get it, look at that. Yeah, so let's back it up here across the deep south. We're going to be looking at severe weather complexes as we head throughout. Look at this. This is going to be 1 a.m. right around early Wednesday morning. Look at this across northeast Texas. These are some big-time supercells with some complex of thunderstorms just south of Little Rock. We also got some more complexes forming to the north here. But the south is going to be under fire as we continue through your Wednesday. Look what starts to blossom here. We're going to have two distinct areas. One across Mississippi, Alabama, and western Georgia. The other is going to be over towards Dallas, Fort Worth here. Look at this. Some of these could contain tremendous hail cores as well. So tornadoes, the tornado threat, damaging wind, large hail. So hail is going to be a big thing, especially across northeast Texas here. Look at this. This is insane. So this is towards 7 a.m. Look at how strong these storms are already, and we're only into the early morning hours. And look at this. This really gets cranking across the Florida Panhandle, southern parts of Georgia, Alabama, and this heads towards 2 p.m. So, yeah, that's going to be heading towards the Florida Peninsula. It does begin to weaken a little bit just north of Jacksonville and southwest of Jacksonville as well. Now, are we going to see another round of this? So let's continue to go. Yes, look what's happening here. We have tremendous energy on the backside of this system. Look what's happening. The daytime heating is taking effect, and we're getting refiring of these thunderstorms occurring. This is going to be some tremendous severe weather here. It is going to be a very enhanced risk of severe weather. Look at this. These are going to be bigger than the storms earlier in the day, and look at this. This is not going to be good. Damaging wind, large hail, tornadoes. This is going to be a very bad day across parts of Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and the Florida Panhandle, southern portion of Arkansas, and northeast Texas. So, yeah, essentially, our outline area of greatest concern is here, and of course, some will break off and affect northern parts of Florida as well. But, yeah, this is not looking good. This is a nocturnal event, Wednesday night into Thursday morning. Look at this. This is crazy. There's going to be tremendous, it becomes more linear overnight, so the tornado threat goes down a bit. But as you can see, look what this conforms into a massive solid line. 10 a.m. Thursday morning, the 15th. Look what's converging on northern Florida here. We could be looking at some tremendous damaging wind, large hail event. Yes, we're going to be looking at an enhanced risk of severe weather here for your Wednesday and Wednesday night across parts of the deep south here. Tornado threat running high. Before we continue with your severe weather and the rest of your tropics as well, and your whole precipitation outlook, here is a quick special announcement. Take a look at this. I am proud to announce that I am now an affiliate with Trilogy Maps. TrilogyMaps.com, bringing you the most digital, customizable maps found nowhere else on the internet. These maps are simply stunning. It's an advanced layering system that makes these maps great for making forecast maps with ease, or any other maps that you would like to display important information on. The resolution on these maps is simply amazing. From the detail of everything here in the States, and you can also create stunning, digital, professional layered maps from also across the entire world. And don't forget, in checkout, the discount code option, use my code, MeteoMark, hit apply, and you will get 20% off your order. So if you want the most professional, customizable, and affordable weather maps found nowhere else on the internet, look no further than TrilogyMaps.com. Link in the description down below along with your discount code. So SIGTOR parameter here, we're going to be getting on into your Wednesday. This is where I'm a little concerned. You start to see across Dallas, Texas, stretching to Louisiana. You see these yellow areas, 2 to 3 here. Orange and red is like 4 to 5. That's significant on the SIGTOR parameter scale. Now watch this. This is why I think both Wednesday and Thursday could be tremendous for tornadoes. Look at this. This is 7 a.m. on Wednesday. This is southern part of Alabama. I think you're going to see a couple waves of potential tornadoes here. This is not looking good at all. And as we head throughout the day, that wanes by early afternoon, and your guard is going to be off a little bit, but watch what starts to develop here. A massive explosion. You see this low-level jet coming off the Gulf Coast area, and it starts to feed into all this instability here along the Gulf Coast states. This is going to be tremendous. This is not looking good at all. I'm deeply worried about a tornado outbreak that lasts and stretches across southern Alabama. This is 1 a.m. on Thursday morning. Look at this. This is going to be dangerous. Look at that. SIGTOR parameters up here into the blue. That could be approaching 8 or 9. So just around and south of Montgomery, Alabama, this is a big potential tornado threat as we go along the Gulf Coast states. I can't remember how long it's been since we've had this massive threat, but very concerned for both Wednesday and early Thursday that we could be seeing the threat for tornadoes. All right, so taking a look at the European run here, this is what we got going on. A big-time thunderstorms continuing on into your Wednesday across the southeast. This is going to be some big-time storms. We got the next system coming through the northeast. Some more heavy, moderate to heavy rain will be likely here. Let's just back that up. So, yeah, overnight, as we get into Tuesday night, early Wednesday morning, that's going to be moving through the Cleveland, Akron, and Cincinnati area. See how that moves across the northeast here. Pivots just in time for your morning rush here across the northeast. And look at those big-time thunderstorms here along the Gulf Coast, just off the coast of the Carolinas. And there's the system moving across into New England as we head through late Wednesday into early Thursday. So Wednesday night essentially here. And look at this. We got some big-time thunderstorms continuing here across the southern plains. We're just going to keep propping these lows out of the southwest here. We got the jet stream moving in like this, and we're going to have some tremendous severe weather here. This is going to be, now that we're June, mid to late June here, we're going to just ramp this up like it's May, because May, we're kind of waking up for lost time here, essentially. So here we go. We got another system for Friday moving through the northeast. Look at this. Yeah, this is looking pretty unsettled. So if we just back this up a few frames, it kind of comes out of the Appalachians here. So instead of the Ohio Valley, it's kind of moving up through parts of Pennsylvania into New York there. And look at this. More thunderstorms across the deep south as well as the central plains. All this energy just pivoting around just like this. So yeah, the northeast, look at that. You're socked in with rain showers. That kind of moves out. Let's take a look at your weekend. So yeah, your weekend looks kind of wet initially across the Hudson Valley, Catskills, Poconos. But look at that, low starts to move out for your Sunday. We're continuing with tremendous thunderstorms here across the south. And look at this jet stream kind of pushing in to support this severe weather outbreaks. And look at this. Monday, yeah, as we head towards the deep south, parts of Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia here, look at it, pivots towards the southeast here. This is a very typical El Nino pattern where you get these systems just plowing across the south, pretty far south for this time of year. It's going to bring some pretty heavy rain and cooler temperatures to parts of the Carolinas here. Look at this, how this thing starts to explode towards Tuesday, June 20th. And look at this. This looks like a classic inland coastal, essentially. I hate to tell you, but it's not feeling like summer here across the Carolinas with this going on. But look at this high pressure blocking to the north. This just looks like a wintertime pattern here. And look at this. It tries to ride right up the east coast towards June 23rd. Total liquid equivalent precipitation. Let's take a look. Look at that across the Great Lakes. You can see where the cyclonic flow is there. Yeah. This is piling up through the weekend. We'll take it through late weekend to initialize this. Look at this across the deep south. This is with the severe weather. You're also going to be dealing with 2.5 to up to 5, maybe 6 inches here in southern Alabama. That's crazy towards the Panhandle of Florida. Look at parts of the Ohio Valley to the northeast. This is also where you'll be seeing 3/4 of an inch to up to possibly 2, maybe 3 inches here in parts of upstate New York, northern New England. As we zoom into the northeast here, let's take a look. So this is your Wednesday rain. Look at that towards Cleveland, 3/4 to 1 inch. Just south of Cleveland, this is where you get the heavier 1.25 to up to 1 3/4 inches. That's going to be plowing into New York and Pennsylvania. It's going to kind of taper off a little bit, and then another resurgence here in the parts of northern New England. And look at this. We'll just add on top of it for Friday. Look at this. Yeah, we're just adding additional amounts here. So we'll take your totals through late weekend here. Look at this. Yeah, we're bringing, your 5-day total here is going to be pretty interesting. This is beneficial rain, so we're not going to really result in much flooding. And then next week, we head towards Wednesday and Thursday. These coastal systems we'll have to watch very closely. And if we take a look at the southeast here, yeah, with this severe weather, look what's going on here. We could have some totals, approaching 3 to 6 inches, especially, look at this. This is like 7 to 8 here in southern Alabama, panhandle of Florida. So please, you're going to be getting a tremendous amount of rain the next several days. So for the smoke, here's the wildfires continuing to burn currently up in Quebec. The wind is going to be changing direction a lot. Thankfully, it's going to be away from the northeast. But the problem that lies is, look at this. From Thursday, look how it starts to congeal southward here. How much of this is actually going to make it? Well, unfortunately, our HRRR model doesn't make it, much beyond here. So here we go. As we continue on with the European model, we can take a look and see right up at the 700 millibars, a couple miles up here. You start to see what's I'm a little worried about here. You start to see that cyclonic motion along the East Coast, which brought us that last smoke problem. And let's just zoom into the northeast here with these northerly winds. And here we go. We'll continue here at 700 millibars. Take a look at this. So into the northeast, there is that flow pattern directly, out of Quebec here. It's going to be potentially congealing that smoke, as we head towards maybe later in the weekend here into early next week. Thankfully, though, you can see the winds start to veer more out of the northwest. So this might actually be the saving grace as this low pressure starts to pull away initially. I'll keep an eye on it here. All right, so take a look at the Eastern Pacific here. We have 2 areas through day 7, 20% chance for both. So let's see what's going to feed into this. They're obviously not going to affect land, it looks like. They're heading west. But yeah, there's 2 distinct areas by the 15th here. You have this area and this area. So yeah, we're going to look at the potential that we might actually see dual storms out here form and take care of our first 2 names of the season out here. Yeah, look at this. And we're going to crank it up here, towards the 18th and 19th. They're not going to be massive systems, but you can see as we get towards the 20th, 21st, we're going to start lining up the intertropical convergence zone, and we're going to get some help here from the southern Caribbean as some of the energy moves to the west here. So what do we look for out here in the Western Pacific? Surprisingly, there is no activity going on at the moment. We have a very big old system here coming off the continent of Asia, affecting bringing more rain here to Japan. It is their rainy season. So yeah, that's expected for this time of year. So as we continue, take a look at this. The Philippines are going to continue to get heavy showers here, especially in the southern Philippines by the 15th. So the intertropical convergence zone going crazy here, but nothing too terribly organized. You can see a lot of tropical rains forming out of this by the 19th. The trend is for the northern Philippines to get hit with this front to the north a little bit, and then the south, we're going to continue to see this intertropical convergence zone kind of bring some spiraling bands of moisture. But at this point, we start to see by the 20th of June, we may be seeing our next name system just east of the Philippines. Now, this is interesting because where would this system go if it were to form? You can see the low pressure starting to form here. Well, we have this system just camped out to the north, so it's possible that this system could be dragged to the north. But let's see what our model solution is indicating here as we go in time. The great news is it starts to pinwheel more towards the north. It looks like it's going to get picked up in the westerlies and stay away from the Philippines. So yeah, this could definitely become our next named storm. And this system to the north would likely possibly recurve this. We're getting way towards the margin of error as we get, beyond days 10 or 11 here. This is towards the 22nd. So yeah, we're going to continue to watch it here. We have plenty of time to watch it. Intertropical convergence zone going crazy west of the Philippines as well. I also wanted to take a look at our cyclone we still have going over here in the Indian Ocean. Let's take a look. It's on the other side of India here. Here is our cyclone, Bihar J. Yes, here it is. Yeah, so the winds are going to continue. We're going to see a resurgence back towards 80, 75 miles per hour. Now, let's take a look at the path of this. Yes, it's going to be affecting western India for the most part. You can see the big story with this system is going to be, the tremendous rain. But yes, it's going to make landfall, is a full cyclone, and then it starts to stall inland towards the 16th and the 17th. You can see it heading up towards the northeast here. And the concern is it's going to get up towards New Delhi here, a much more populated area as it heads inland here. So definitely going to keep an eye on this. But the good news is it will be weakening by this point as we get towards the 20th of June. So let's take a look at our high temperatures as we continue through the rest of the week. A cool spell here across the northeast, upper 60s, lower 70s for your Wednesday as the clouds and the rain move in to the northeast. Look at this heat across Texas, even mid to upper 90s here across Florida. And let's take a look and see if that heat's going to build. It does start to build. Look at this low to mid 90s up here in the Dakotas, Nebraska, and hundreds across most of Texas, upper 90s across Florida here. We start to warm it up even in the northeast here into the 70s as we get into your Friday TGIF. We get a little cool shot again with the clouds and the rain. But look at the south just continuing to bake here. It is just insane to even think that we'll be approaching 100 in most of Texas. And look at this as we continue through the rest of the week. That you can tell, this heat wave is just going to spread to the east. Look at this. This is getting downright dangerous. Mid 100s here, Dallas, or down to Houston. And look at that. That just continues to spread to the east. The northeast staying temperate into your Sunday. And here's Monday. Look at this. It's just more of the same. The heat builds here across the southern plains. It's going to be building all the way up like this. It's almost looking like that death ridge is taking effect here. And there it is, temperate into the northeast. We're actually getting into the low to mid 80s here to parts of the Carolinas. Extended outlook from my hometown viewers, Binghamton to Scranton's upper Susquehanna River Valley. Yep, thunderstorms and showers likely on Wednesday. It's going to be mostly all day, off and on again. Up to 0.4 of an inch, almost just shy of a half an inch. 66, it'll be kind of chilly. Into your Thursday, a chance of showers and thunderstorms, especially in the afternoon. Warmer, 78. But look at this. Friday, we get the next system moving through. We get these storms pivoting across the eastern Great Lakes with base of that trough. Showers and thunderstorms likely again. More beneficial rains, probably another 0.4 of an inch of rain. And then a Saturday and Sunday, we dry it out a little bit. But I just want to make note there is a chance of a shower both days. As always, thanks for joining me for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather. Take a look at the links down below. I have my affiliate link for Trilogy Maps, so if you want to get some of those, I do make a commission off those. I just wanted to disclose that, but go ahead and use the code MeteoMark to save 20%. Also, visit my Hurricane 2023 Outlook if you haven't already. Link at the end of this video and description down below. Don't forget Facebook MeteoMark, also Weather Northeastern, also Hurricane Northeastern for my tropical page, at MeteoMark.com, WeatherNortheastern.com, Twitter at Weather Eastern. Thank you for joining me.